Latin America is a hub of support for the Palestinian cause. From Venezuela to Brazil to Chile, the call for the liberation of Palestine is a powerful force to be reckoned with. There have been many examples of Latin American leaders taking strong stands to support the Palestinian resistance. On the political level, Chile, Paraguay, Brazil, Argentina, Bolivia, Uruguay, Ecuador, and Venezuela have all recognized Palestinian sovereignty over the West Bank and Gaza. Chile is home to almost 500,000 Palestinians, who constitute around 2.5% of the country's population. The feeling of solidarity with Palestine in Chile is palpable, and while significant Israeli interests do exist in Chilean society, there have been some interesting developments. In 2022, the newly elected president of Chile, Gabriel Boric, cancelled the credentials ceremony for the new Israeli ambassador and promptly dismissed him from the presidential palace when he heard of the Israeli military killing of Oudia Salah in Jenin. It has since been announced that a Chilean embassy will be established in Palestine. Aside from the political side of the equation, there are also material connections between the resistance and Latin America. But there have even been several fighters from Latin America who joined the ranks of Palestinian resistance groups and directly participated in operations like Carlos the Jackal, who attempted to assassinate the vice president of the British Zionist Federation at his home in London. The late great president of Venezuela, Hugo Chavez, refused to condemn Carlos the Jackal, even under pressure from the French embassy, stating that he was a good friend and a steadfast fighter for the Palestinian people. The US government and other nefarious actors have long accused Hugo Chavez of harboring active cells for the Lebanese resistance movement Hezbollah in Venezuela. It was alleged that Chavez provided safe haven to the only group which has successfully driven Israel out of Lebanon, the resistance group Hezbollah, in the Venezuelan territory of Margarita Island. The current Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro, who himself has been the target of several US assassination attempts, has publicly spoken of his close relationship with the late resistance leader, General Qasem Soleimani. Maduro claims that when Venezuela was subject to US cyber attacks, it was Soleimani who came and secured Venezuela's systems from North American skullduggery. When asked about his country's commitment to the liberation of Palestine, Maduro responded, "No one in this world dares ask us to abandon Palestine. It is a sin just thinking about abandoning Palestine. Palestine is the sacred land of mankind. Israel's crimes against the Palestinian people will be paid for by the occupation one day." Despite Israel's best attempts to subvert the will of billions across the world, Palestine is not alone, and Latin America stands firmly with it.
Many have questioned who the most pro-Israel Latin American leader has been. The winner of that dubious competition may well be former Brazilian president and military officer Jair Bolsonaro. It is believed that his emotional promotion of the Zionist project stems from his aim to ingratiate himself with his Christian evangelical electoral base. But Bolsonaro has gone over and above his servility to Israel. At Palestine Declassified, we question if Bolsonaro has facilitated the penetration of Brazil's armed forces by Israeli intelligence. Benjamin Netanyahu was the first Israeli political leader to visit Brazil following the election of Bolsonaro. He proudly hosted Netanyahu at a synagogue in Rio de Janeiro, where they announced a brotherhood between their countries with the intent of increasing economic, military, and technological integration. Bolsonaro bestowed upon Netanyahu the highest national honor for visiting political figures, and the Brazilian post office released a special stamp to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the establishment of the Zionist entity, featuring a picture of Netanyahu next to the word Savior in Hebrew. Bolsonaro was in turn crowned with a Friends of Zion award in occupied Al-Quds. The family bonds between the Bolsonaros and Israel are so strong that the former Brazilian president's sons have been pictured wearing IDF t-shirts, and his wife even delivered her vote in the most recent election wearing a t-shirt emblazoned with the Israeli flag. The most sinister part of this story is Bolsonaro's role in submitting the data of the Brazilian army to an Israeli cybersecurity company with an umbilical relationship to Israeli intelligence. In March 2022, the Israeli company SciSource signed an agreement to train the Brazilian military in cyber defense. The CEO and founder of the company is Amir Barel, who is reported to have worked for Israel's external intelligence service Mossad before entering the private sector. He also previously worked with the Israeli spy company NSO Group, which developed the Pegasus software that has hacked the phones of journalists, human rights defenders, and politicians around the world. SciSource is also part of the Israeli cyber companies consortium led by the arms company Israel Aerospace Industries. The consortium was founded in 2016 by Israel's Ministry of the Economy to quote-unquote provide an overarching solution by Israeli cyber companies to the needs of different national-level cyber agencies. In addition to granting this deal to SciSource, a Brazilian lieutenant from the military, Luiz Katzap, was appointed as the global sales director of the Israeli company. How can the Brazilian military protect its sovereignty from Israeli espionage?